think it might be in a different link. Just 1 second.
Okay.
I sent it to you on Slack. Okay. Okay, Stefan will join in a second. We are starting in like 1 or 2 minutes. Okay, I think now we are on the, now we have the right link. I'm just wondering, or Stefan should join any second. But we are already live on the Hangout, or on the well, there's YouTube. Okay, we'll see when Stefan is joining, but let me shortly. Okay, no, I think I'm not sure when Stefan is joining, but he should join every second. But I think we should get started anyway. So yeah, we are about to do, like we did, 10 larger auctions of using the Dutch exchange. Basically, we wanted to demonstrate that the mechanism is capable of handling large market orders as large as $100,000, and I guess our claim would be that this is currently the only decentralized exchange that is capable of handling a $100,000 market order. So we did 10 of them, or actually we are doing right now, we are doing number 10, and we did already 9 of them. And today, yeah, right now we want to like review that a little bit. Do a Hangout. Stefan will join very soon. But we also have a guest, Frederic, on the call. Maybe you want to introduce yourself, Frederic?
Yeah, sure. So I'm with Dune Analytics, and we make it very convenient to work with Ethereum data. So we put together a nice little dashboard for the DAI and wet auctions on the DutchX. And if people like it, they're free to play around and create their own dashboards, so tweak it or add other assets or whatever you want to do.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, we will definitely have a look at the data you you created. Stefan, welcome.
Hi guys, sorry for being late. The train was not on time.
Okay, so yeah, so I think we could maybe directly get started and looking at what happened, and of course use the data you created. Maybe you want to like share a little bit more about Dune Analytics. So when did you start? What's currently the state?
Sure. So we're providing an analytics tool that makes it very easy to both work with Ethereum data, but also share it. So you can do queries, SQL queries on decoded, like human readable Ethereum data, and then you can create it into graphs, and then you can share it. So we started out last summer. We have some Ethereum teams as customers, notably Dharma, for instance, using our tool internally. And now, just these days, we're opening up a community version of our tool as well. So anyone can go to our website and play around with the data and then create graphs and share it. So this is just like one little example. And we're usually based in Norway, but currently doing the Binance Labs accelerator. So we're based in Berlin for some time. So that's our little story, and we hope that our tool can help facilitate a lot of good discussion around Ethereum development and adoption, rather than people throwing around claims or screenshots or stuff on Twitter. You can actually very easily see the data, see it real time, go back to the query, the underlying SQL query, see how people got there, and just fork it if you think that it's not the best way to measure it or you want to see something else. So we really hope we can be this source of truth for what's happening on chain that anybody can access very easily. That's like a quick overview. So yeah, I'm happy to share the dashboard. Or do you want to do anything else first?
No, definitely. Let's have a look at it, and then let's.
Or maybe you want to just give a quick intro to the DutchX mechanism first. Or
yes.
do people know?
I mean, kind of. I almost assume people are that.
Okay.
I think it's always good to repeat yourself.
Right. So yeah, I touched on it in the intro. So we think it's the DutchX is well, it's a protocol to exchange tokens against one and each other, and there are many decentralized exchanges. But the first thing is to make the separation between I mean, all decentralized exchanges are non-custodial, so whoever is running it is not in control of your funds. You're always in control of your funds. However, but there's still a big distinction between ones where there is someone like an operator who matches trades, who kind of says who can list or delist token, and all of those things. And then there are protocols that are fully decentralized, where there is no operator whatsoever. And Uniswap is one example. Yeah, and another example is the Dutch Exchange, or the Dutch Exchange protocol. So it's a completely open protocol. It's fully on chain. There's no operator whatsoever. And the big advantage that how we see that is that it's capable of actual price discovery and capable of handling large orders and front running resistant. So existing mechanisms usually have issues around front running. So basically, specifically miners can get significant advantages by reordering transactions or by just inserting a transaction before, like in a way that it's advantageous for them, and they can basically extract easily 1-2% out of every trade. And that is something we wanted to tackle with Dutch Exchange. So it works that there's a period where people can commit to sell some tokens, and this period is roughly 6 hours. And at some point the auction starts. Then there's a pile of tokens that are being sold from many different users potentially, and then the mechanism tries to sell them at the high price, at kind of double the market. It starts trying to sell them at double the market price, and it basically continuously offers them for sale, but decreases the price over time. And as time goes by, price decreases. Buyers who want to buy this token and are fine with a specific price can, well, basically take the other side of the trade. And as soon as there are enough buyers to clear the whole batch, buy everything at the current given price, then the whole thing will be cleared or executed at the last final price. So buyers, even if they were accepting to buy at a higher price, they still will get the final price. And this mechanism has a bunch of game theoretic advantages, no front running, price discovery. The big downside, of course, is that it's fairly slow. So this like end-to-end, the auction runs for 6 hours, and it takes up to 6 hours for the next auction to start, because the previous one might have just been started. So end-to-end, like a trade, takes between 6 and 12 hours. But the idea is smart contracts, or user groups are smart contracts that just have a need to convert one token to another, and want to get and the smart contract system would want to get a fair price. And of course, traders that want to trade large amounts of tokens, and where it's in a way advantageous to run for 6 hours to kind of get enough liquidity during this time. And that's exactly what we demonstrated with the DAI auctions. So if you would sell 100,000 DAI on Uniswap or on Kyber, I'm not sure if I think Kyber would directly reject it, but if they would accept it, or I'm not actually 100% sure, but if they would accept it, you would definitely create a larger slippage. So you would on Uniswap, I can check the numbers later, but at least in the area of 5 to 10%, I would currently assume, potentially more. And as the data will show right now on the DutchX, we managed to get the slippage or the price movement of a large order down to definitely less than 1%. Yeah, and I think now it's a good time to validate this.
All right, we can have a look at the data. So I shared a link in the YouTube comments.
I think you can also. I think you should be able to do a screen sharing directly.
Yeah, I'll do a screen share as well. So let's see. Here we go. Share. So you can see my screen now?
No.
No, actually, yes, you can see it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, and also there's a link to the page I'm at now in the YouTube stream on the side there. So jump right in. So here's the data for.
Sorry, 1 second. Could someone of you validate on what people see on YouTube, because I think.
Yeah, I have the YouTube feed running. So whoops, this is kind of messed up, but
okay.
I think it's
cool.
good. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So here we have some graphs, and I'll explain them. So the line here is the market price from centralized exchanges and the DutchX price. So the blue one is DutchX price, and the red one is market price. And this is for the auction where DAI is auctioned away for wet. So what we can see here are that these seem pretty tight, and the green graph is that same difference turned into a percentage. So then you can see at what percentage these auctions actually clear, what difference between market price and DutchX price. So as we can see, most of these are within 1%, which is quite interesting. So the first one was -9%, so a DAI discount. And the important thing to note here is that it depends what side of the market you're on. So if you're buying DAI, then a discount is good for you. A DAI discount is good for you.
Right.
Yes. And also, if you scroll down here, we can see the volumes. So these easy to spot the auctions initiated by Gnosis, where you have 100,000 DAI of volume on these spikes. And also the other side here is wet auction for DAI, so the other way around, which is another auction. So that's the high level explanation of what this looks like. We can look more into the data. One thing to mention is that afterwards, if you go to duneanalytics.com, you can go and look at the underlying queries. So if you want to go in like this, you can actually see the SQL code. It's here. And you can go around and fork it and create your own versions. Yeah. So I guess that's. You guys wanna?
Yeah, really nice. I mean, maybe, yeah. Sorry, Stefan.
Yeah, I was just saying, basically, yeah, it looks very, very great. I think it's really nice that you can easily create your own SQL queries based on this data. One thing we would be particularly interested in is obviously to see what has been the slippage at the time when, yeah, the 100K auctions were running.
Mm-hmm.
That's something we would like to see.
Yeah, I mean, just or maybe if you, before we maybe see what else you could see, or what different analytics you can do, just to talk about this graph that's here. So I think, like, from our perspective, of course, we wanted to demonstrate that it's safe to sell larger amounts, and that means we have been concerned about the seller price. So that basically means a green line that's high, or kind of with a high number is bad, and the lower the green the lower the green thing is, the better for us. So it was expected that it's on average above 0, because I mean that's a normal thing on a market. If you put in a larger market order, you create some slippage. But I think specifically the last three larger auctions, so following April 7, I think in this area the discount has never been above 1%, if I see it correctly.
Yeah, it's probably right.
At least for the last 3 ones.
I can send you the. Well, here you can have a look at the dashboard directly.
Yeah.
If you hover over the last 3 ones or the last 4.
Okay. These last
it's been always like something between 0.2 and 0.6%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think upfront we said everything below 2% is already a success, and I think that was
that's confirmed.
Yeah.
The highest one is 1.8.
Yeah.
One question: where do you get the price feed from?
So this is like one of these CoinCap, one of these sites where you just like get a bunch of crypto prices. So
aggregated feed, basically made from different exchanges.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So it's like aggregated across a bunch of different centralized exchanges.
And do you know in what resolution, or kind of, is it a daily price or an hourly price, or
it's per minute?
Oh, per minute, yeah.
So this is the average for, I guess we're doing day here. So it's benchmarked towards the average price for that day, I think.
Cool. So also, obviously, also here the data for the auctions is also aggregated per day, correct?
Yeah.
Cool.
So the average price of the auction on that day compared to the average price of.
Yeah. So I mean, if you want to do it per minute, you can. It's just go and change the resolution of the time axis in the query.
Yeah, I mean, for the auctions, of course, per minute, or well, in a way, we wouldn't need to do it something like per 6. I'm not even sure. I mean, the auction price will only change every 6 hours.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
On average.
I mean, you could of course do it at occurrence as well, right? Instead of having sort of regular time as the x-axis, you could have each event.
Yeah.
Right. And just track that.
No, but anyway, so and on the right side, yeah, we see, of course, the same thing for the opposite auction. So in our system, it all the time We have 2 auctions running. So one like selling, in this case, DAI for wrapped Ether, and the other one selling wrapped Ether for DAI. And they start at the same time, but they basically start at very different prices. So one is trying to sell Ether, DAI for a high price. So that means a low Ether price, and the other one is selling Ether for a high price. So and then basically those prices will after 6 hours they will cross. But yeah, I think here it's also the trend. I would say was one outlier. Yeah, that's an outlier. We would need to look what happened there.
Here you can note that it's still DAI discount. So when your wet is being auctioned off and people pay DAI, and when they pay with DAI, the DAI is cheap, so you get less wet for your DAI. That's how to interpret it. So this one, as opposed to the left one, this one is good for the seller.
So basically you're saying if you wanted to sell wrapped Ether, you would have you got a better rate on the DutchX than on centralized exchanges.
Yes, that's true.
Okay, interesting. I mean then I think longer term it would also be interesting to compare us with other decentralized exchanges. So maybe there's just some for some reason a bias that for some reason that I don't know yet, DAI is trading on decentralized exchanges in general lower than on centralized exchanges. But yeah.
And one other thing to notice, the volume here is of course much lower than for the other way around. So
I mean, of course, we don't have the $100,000, but apparently the average volume is a little bit higher, maybe than. Yeah, okay. I mean,
no, it's about the same.
Yeah. Okay.
Some outliers. Yeah.
No, it's similar. Yeah, pretty similar. Average is 4,000 a day, I guess, and up to 8,000. Yeah, I mean that's a small detail, but there is this mechanism in the DutchX that encourages ongoing liquidity. So basically, there's something similar to a fee. We call it liquidity contribution, and that is always given to the next auction. So bottom line is, if there is an auction with exceptionally large volume, and those were clearly those $100,000 auctions, that basically means there is an extra incentive to participate in the next auction. And I think we don't see it on every line, and it might be because of the daily aggregation. But in some cases, we see that the volume after the spike is slightly higher, like more like 8,000 instead of 4,000. But anyway, yeah,
that's true. Yeah.
I'm now just curious from the perspective of your product. How difficult would it be, for example, now for a user to take that template and do similar queries for different token pairs?
Yeah, so that would be very easy. So I can show you right away. So we go in here. So all this data is human readable. So what I've done here is I take the sell volume. So I have the auction cleared event from the DutchX contract. And here you have sell volume and buy volume. So I simply divide sell volume by buy volume to get the price. And then I filter for the token address. So I say, okay, so DAI is sell and wet is buy. So if you go and put in whatever address you want in here and there, then you have essentially created a new dashboard for the relevant.
And well, can we try that right now, or does it take?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
We can do that.
Let's try Raiden.
Okay, so one caveat, maybe we should do MKR, because I'm not entirely sure we have a Raiden USD prices.
Let's do MKR, sure.
Okay, so, and what's the pair there? It's MKR and what?
Also Ether. I mean, we also have it against DAI, but let's do Ether.
Okay, so here we have just the contract address of MKR. And which way do you want to put it?
Sell token, yeah.
So sell MKR.
Mm-hmm.
So then this becomes MKR. And the buy token is wet.
Yes.
And we also need to change here, just so we get, instead of DAI, we want to have MKR. So we need to just get the right USD. So here we take, this is the price from the centralized exchange, and then we have MKR. So this should, and here we have MKR and MKR.
I think also it's important there's one more DAI symbol, or I mean, not sure if
is it DAI somewhere else?
In line 16, there's DAI symbol.
Yeah. Thanks. All right. We should be good to go. Let's see. Yep.
Nice. Yeah.
Okay. So here we have, yeah, sort of similar range, I guess.
Yeah.
Looks pretty nice.
Cool. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And probably here to make it more intuitive, we should flip the equations. That's just like a nice trick. So now we have like the inverse of what you would usually see, I think. No, oh sorry, this is not dollar. This is wet. Then you get maybe a weird number like that. Yeah, 0.25. It's not as intuitive when you do token to token prices. But yeah, this is it. It's that simple.
That's awesome. Yeah. One question: how recent is your data? Like, how frequently are you updating this? And
it's real time, so it's 12 blocks behind head, just to avoid chain reorgs.
Wow.
That's
so
and these graphs, do I have to basically execute an SQL query again to display this, or are they automatically updated?
I think you can set the frequency of updates. So refresh schedule here.
Oh yeah.
So you can do refresh every, yeah.
Very cool.
And in the dashboard as well, I'll just leave this. You can also see here when it was last updated.
And I'm just curious. I assume you had to put well, I mean, or how much work did you had to put into make that possible? So how much manual work is? I mean, not kind of building the full product, but I mean specifically for like adopting it to one contract.
That's very easy. So we have code to do that. So we need the contract address and the API, and from there we can create these data tables within minutes.
Very cool. Very cool.
So yeah, we're constantly adding more data. So we have quite a few already at geoanalytics.com, and you can go in and browse all the data tables. But we're definitely also adding more and more. So we're happy to take requests on what people want to see.
Cool.
I should also make a disclosure: we have not invested in you guys. We are just trying to better understand what's going on our exchange.
Yep.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. We will definitely use it more to figure out what's going on.
Yeah. And it's also easy to like fork these things, so you can definitely take this template and create like one that shows all the pairs or 10 pairs or whatever it might be. So if you want to, add in other stuff here, it's very easy.
One thing I'm curious about is in the DutchX we offer the option, or there is the option to, I mean, there is this liquidity contribution where you pay something forward into the next auction, and you can reduce your personal, I mean, you can reduce how much you pay, or you can basically pay half of that with OWL. So that is so if you have Gnosis tokens, you can stake them and you can generate OWL, and then you can use OWL wherever. I mean, basically in every Gnosis product where there is something like a fee, then you will always be able to use OWL to pay that fee. So I'm curious, can we get a statistic of how much OWL was burned or used? I mean, basically how much fees were generated?
So are there emitted events for when that happens?
Yes, I think so. Stefan, do you know?
I mean, if that's the case, then it's very easy. If not, it's also doable, but it's slightly more quirky. But I am assuming you're emitting events, so then it's trivial.
And for this, I also have to look into the contract again. Then
Yeah.
Quite some time ago.
But I mean, the first draft of this took me maybe in half an hour to do. The first query. It's very, very easy. And I'm not even an engineer. I'm an economist.
All right.
I think the data also is, I mean, for us, it's I would say it's a success already that we could prove that the Dutch auctions, even where we were selling $100,000 worth of DAI, were not sold significantly below market price. And I think you could also see that there's some sort of like learning or like more adoption, meaning that the market price actually, the auction price is very close to the market price for the last few auctions where we were also doing DAI challenges. So yeah, I think we are happy with this result. Of course, it would be great to see also other people placing larger orders. We think there are mainly like 2 user groups that are relevant for this exchange. One would be users that want to trade larger amounts of tokens, meaning OTC dealers, for example. There we would actually like to reach out also to OTC dealers that are interested and getting a better understanding of additional requirements they might have. And then obviously I think what's really cool about the Dutch exchange that many people have not yet understood or appreciated was that this exchange also allows smart contracts to directly sell tokens trustlessly. So because in other exchanges, any exchange that uses, for example, 0x or any kind of like off-chain orders, there are signatures required, which have to be obviously created with private keys, which smart contracts don't have. And this is why the Dutch exchange is quite unique in the way that anyone, also smart contracts, can directly participate, making it totally trustless to sell tokens. So I think that's something where we would like to see more people looking into that. And we're happy to understand better external requirements and try to help integrating this.
Yes. Right. Cool.
I can also mention that anyone are free to share the link I sent. I hope it's like permanent on YouTube, so people can see it afterward as well.
I will definitely also like tweet or share the link after this call. And yeah,
good proof for you guys that anyone can go and explore and see that those market prices are actually pretty, or it's clearing at close to the market price, right?
Right. Okay, so just curious, what's up for you next, or do you have what are your next plans? Creating more functionality or more dashboards, or what's on your roadmap?
Yeah, so we just pushed out this community version actually last week. So my crypto used it for a blog post. So they had like a list of addresses that were scammy, and they figured out within like 1 minute that 40,000 ETH has been sent to scam addresses, and then they put up a dashboard where you can see live, like when was the last time someone sent ETH to a scam address, how is this over time, all of that. So what we want to do now is onboard people from the community and make them start playing with the data, make them share it, so people can actually look at this data and put it into blog posts and put it on Twitter and have good discussions around the data based on the data running real time. And then we're also definitely adding on a lot more decoded information, so it's much easier to work with. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what people come up with, because now like anyone can create their own like DeFi polls or whatever type of dashboard is just a few lines of code away instead of having to set up the whole backend and run everything.
Super cool. Yeah. I will play with it as well, definitely. Yeah.
Do that. And we're very happy to take feedback and our website, you can find everything. We're on Telegram, so happy to engage with anyone that's interested in playing with it.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for presenting here.
Thanks for bringing me on, and thanks for creating a cool product. I think the DutchX is very fascinating.
Yeah, we hope to provide much more data, more interesting things to dig into.
I just get the address of just looked into the OWL contract, and it's so whenever OWL is used within the Dutch exchange, the OWL tokens are burned, and this creates a burn event in the OWL token contract.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that could be something that could be added quite easily. So
probably one line of code.
Yeah, I guess you probably need like ABI address and the ABI.
Yeah. I can tell you the code. It's select some burn from OWL contract.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Do you have already the OWL token index? Do you know that?
I don't think so. Yeah, we can look into that right afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thanks a lot, Philip, for jumping on the call and showing these insights.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was great to being on. Hopefully not the last time.
Yeah.
Good.
All right.
All right, then thanks for joining in. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone.